Dum 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 dum. Hey guys, level 2 here. Alright, we're gonna do a trade recap for today, which is the 18th, and doing a trade plan, which is for tomorrow, which is Thursday, the 19th. Alright, so let's go through what we did today. Didn't have much positions on, only left a couple running on a position, didn't take one of the last positions on that. Trader Micro is just one reflecting $800 made on the live, $1,500 on the live. Took advantage of our good moves in the market today. So let's get into this and how we were looking at trade plan. We got lock limit overnight. We didn't get locked out, so we had a buy sitting at 2400 flat. We got the bounce before the London session. Easy play, normal thing. That is a easier play than that you don't need. That was on a 2 contract with stops and stuff built in. We know his stuff would have hold. We know the amount of risk we had on board. So, and if we get held up overnight, we will try to get out of the trade before we limit down. The expectation this morning was to hit limit down and then pause. Somebody was holding up the market. Somebody, let me just put it that way, somebody was holding up the market. You can see the structure here at that 50, the 55 level, all over the place. It became important to us. We were trying to get into a short during the press conference at 2370. That was our active point we were looking at. So we failed on the first attempt, took a 12-point loss. Got in on the break of the 2500. We got into the option trade. If you were watching live, and I wanna cut off the live option trade, I was saying we're beating against any break of that, and the test of that would have been that we got that break, heavy break, high volume break. Got a retest of that. You can see within the 5 minutes they got the break, the retest, and then exited, jumped in at, I got in at 45s on the trade, 44s, somewhere around there. Got in into the trade and ran down both sets, didn't quite reach yet. Got in, got out, and waited for the retest of here. Didn't roll stops, got the retest, closed out trade. Didn't want to be involved late in the game. That post 230, we know there would have been volume and value to the outside. What we did get into later on the close, because we had enough bank to support that and willing to use that, I got in right here at the 2400, which was a clean trade on the first section of it. We used 32 as a stop. We could afford to use that as a stop. Now we're going to affordance and how much you could afford to trade. Tend to trade lower amount of contracts to maintain we leverage position. Got in on the 2400, got out within 5 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes just before the close, and held the secondary wide in the stops. Once we got out of the first one, we had the wide stops there, so our stops are at 32, sitting outside at 32. We know exactly where the technical formation is. We have value area high right here at 38, 39. We identified where this point of control is. Happy days. That 70 to 80, this is what we got in the short of 2380 short spread on the option side. Got in, made some profits on it, got out. At the same time, we got out of the futures trade, made money on that. That was major win this today. For today, we got a lot of money off of that, but costing us the high on the option side. Options are going crazy liquidity. You have to risk it to get the biscuit, as we say. Again, sorry for the background noise, neighbor playing music there. Right, so the reason we got that 2400 is one node was speaking about the perfect entry at that 24 13 to 15 area. is because this was the reaction this morning. This was the opening reaction this morning. You can see the market open, dropped, pushed up, test, and got beat down. We tested at the high side. We sold the 2440s early 10 o'clock. We got the 10 o'clock trade. Got in, got out. Didn't get the retest, and we traded that for our first win for the day. Tried to sell here, didn't get through, was stopped out, was looking for that 2370 level, got stopped out at minus 12 points on our single contract. Played patience game, wait for the meeting, and watch that the beat, break, return, enter, follow the order flow, manage your risk properly, and got in and out of a good 4 contract trade. Made us some money on the micro. Well, when you make $1,300 a day on micros, you could say that you made money. Got in a 4 contract trade there. I was clean as I whistle, got out too early and managed through the rest. And we will just keep following stops and following the order flow every 15 minutes using 15-minute chart as order flow. So it didn't get stopped out. We didn't mind giving back some money. We saw the opportunity to be aggressive in the market. We had the aggressive entry here also at the 400, which worked out pretty well for us so far. Our stops are up here. We have only one single, so we only traded 2 contracts at this 2400. This is the closing, so you could get volatile whipsaw out. T was talking about that. She was speaking about that, how she was using stops. I tend to use volatility as a stop, so I just doubled 3x my 2x my trade. 3x, we use 3x on the 20% trade, so we use 20% of the volatility on average, and just 3x that because the amount of contracts we were using were half the amount of contracts. So we're using 13-point stops tomorrow, 1-3 stops tomorrow. Overnight, they trade only 2 contracts overnight per position. We want to position ourselves in the market. Hopefully we complete that 2400 is still running on my side. Let me see if the position's still on here. I don't think it's on here. It will reappear because of how the market works. I need to see if it's still on or not. Want to see, make sure that we have it on in the demo where it's on live. Same here, we identified, we know where the exits are. We're looking for close to 100 3x win on that 32 point stop, so we're looking for 96 points. So we're looking at 2306 to close out TP on that and trail until we feel we trail in 1-to-1 on that. We manually trailing it and looking for logical areas where we want to stop at. We're looking for a 3x trade off of that. That is $160. You're looking at making some reasonable amount of money on that single itself. You can see market rebalancing itself. Don't tend to use tight stops, very tight stops. You can see exactly if you enter at 400, they would have been stopped out on the 10-point stop. Though on the closing market, if you're playing, you play exactly where you trade what you see. Manage your risk. Know exactly what you risk in your portfolio itself. I risk my portfolio. I don't have stops, and try to read the market in place, knowing exactly how much money I could make or lose before you enter the trade. Always do that. I tend not to use very tight stops, and if you're in tops that you are more or less encouraged to use very tight stops. I tend to vary at some points on where, especially how I mainly use limit orders for execution. I tend to vary a little bit away from that with the way I trade, especially in micros. Not trading minis these days because of the volatility. Volatility is a pain in the nene. a pain. So our take profit is right here at 2306. We'll see how close we get and manage to trade through that on that single. don't think I'll be adding to the short position. The only way I'll be adding to that short position is if we get stopped out looking at that 35 level, 24.35 to be short with stops beyond that 50 level. Wide stops, less contracts. If the volatility is high, you have to trade with wider stops. No questions and or but ifs. That is just us and how we trade. While we were trying to get into a longish position after the news started work, obviously we took one loss and walked away. I didn't actually take the trade. Our co-partners took the trade and suffered the consequences. We had the option trade running, so I just make sure I don't think that it was, to be clear on that. You can see that 9.6% bump. That is what you call killer. That was a big move from the data for the whole day session. So trading this was difficult. I would have not liked to be involved on unless you're on the right side of the market here. We had one option running on that was the team. Close out the option in profit. So once we close out the option in profit, we were good. You could see the equity is within what 6 or 7 days. Equity showing up really good. We moved a lot of stuff to cash. No monetary Teslas. So we got in 5 more, so we at 45 shares, actual shares owned. We more or less break even on it on all our shares that own right now, probably minus about $400-500 on actual own shares. I on the shares account. We managed our portfolio, so balancing stuff. At one point the Dow was under $19,000, 19,000 today, which was ridiculous. We thought we might get buried today. So let's look at the longer term view of what the market is doing. This is the day format. We had our stuff set up. We know where the percentages were, why we were looking to where we were looking if the market did stop there yesterday, if the market did start back here. We use our longer term position. We see in the probability of this breaking tomorrow and going down to 2100. I do have one long term option spread from 2380 to 2180. That's at 200 with option spread running on the longer term. We had the option and longer term option in the market here. Costing is pretty high, so if it's not a professional option trader, and I think I feel too confident in doing that. We are at or just above that 30%. That's 2378. We took a dip this morning below that 29 level, the 2320 level. That's a big deal. If we anytime we close above below that, that's a big deal. That's a level we looked at today, so that is partially what we're looking at for tomorrow and trying to make sure we can close out our trade or futures trade on that. Oil wise, I don't really want to touch oil. Oil is costing too much these days, so I won't be trading oil outright in the market. My guy he does trade it, he doesn't care, he does trade it, he makes a lot of money. He's a lot more professional than myself when it comes to oil, because I got the feels for oil. Been there, done that. 2560 is your 25%, so make sure I monitor that level very closely. That was a decision point in the market. You can see that 5% move up between up and down. Today was more or less the same, just not in the recorded. In the move, you can see a little bit of support. We more or less closed on a doji today and looked at the market. So are we looking at the market for overnight until tomorrow? Is we need to see the market is in full swing right now. So you want to take advantage of that situation. So you can see the midpoint here, you can see this 30 to 35 area. 30 may be a probable sell for us if we do get breakthroughs at that. We know that's why we have the stop there on the initial, where we have the 1 point move there that will initiate a secondary, which is a 2 contract trade on the micros, of course, which stops above 50. So you want to see, well, what structure we can lean on. So you want to lean on that 2440 structure that we sold off at 10 a.m. this morning. If you held on to that trade for a 200 point winner, well done, well done. We only got like about 40 to 60 points on it. Not a problem, not a problem for us. We take small bites, trade what we see. We only trade what we see. If we're wrong, we want to know if we're wrong. Very tightly, we allow enough space for the trade to play out though. So that's why our stops are a little bit bigger, especially with micros. Trading the ES is costing too much. As of this morning, my broker had it at, I think it was 11,000 from a margin. Wow, that's unfair. Cannot trade that. That's telling me to trade 0 contracts minus contracts or 0.5 contracts. That's a no-no for us. We trade what we see. We use the tools that were given to us. Micros as a tool is very good in our opinion. I open my micro leverage account at the right time. I suppose trading micros has been profitable for us. We can take out a market, you cannot get rich off of that. For us trading minis, the stress of trading those kind of numbers and taking that type of loss would just rip my confidence apart very early. One loss would put me out my misery in other words. We expect to see a little bit of a rebound on oil. Want to see, we was talking about this node as protection here, right there. You can see that node there as protection entry. If you do get that as an entry, that is a possible entry for the opening of the market in a little bit, the futures market in a little bit. We may look at it, but our major position will be within this kill zone here, which is from 25 to 35 ready. So we're looking at closely at that. We already guaranteed break even, a little bit better than break even on this side. So more or less that's what we trade in. Trade small, trade smart, guys. Look at the market. If the market running away from you, move to something that you're more comfortable trading, like micros. If you're unwilling to trade micros and stuff, there's a lot of stuff to learn in the market. I look at a lot of bookmap to see where the liquidity is, especially that was the key for me today, not just watching this point here at 23.52 on 50s. That was part of watching the strategy, making sure that we broke heavily. As we broke heavily, enter the trade and look for the continuation. The downside, biggie downside was open. Now we got filled. You can see profile filled up a lot, so you have a little more of a Gaussian, so it might be bringing a little bit of balance to the market. We'll see how that works out. So possible TP areas are that 23, 30 area here, and we're looking for maximum at 23.06 to 10 right here. You can see where the kickoff point was coming into the close. That was the 233 here. You can see where that last bit of action took place, where the volume is, where the value is located in the area. So all we want to do is risk a little to gain a lot in trading. That is how it is. If you don't risk it, you cannot get the biscuit. So hope you guys trade small, trade smart. Should be streaming tomorrow right after the market forecast from Top Step. I have a lot of studying to do overnight. It goes on 2400. And look at that 51 tomorrow as your max limit to the upside. if it does break that, it become iffy. But only trade what you see. Dan was speaking about the limit up, not seeing it coming up here as yet, so it probably might come out this evening or tomorrow or something. Wanted to listen to that podcast. I do follow the podcast. Uh, Probably know some stuff. So, with that said, that's about it for the trade plan. If you're planning on buying, I wish you luck if you're planning on buying. This value might provide some value for you to the downside, might provide some support for you. This 2350 also may provide some support, so be careful, trade small, trade smart. You can see where we're sitting right back here, that 2400 point of control. You can see we're trading away from the point of control for the day. This is the Globex session. We're trading away from the Globex point of control. If you want, you could overlay your 9:30 to close and see if it affects the profile, because this is what whole uses. You can see more or less a little bit tighter on it, more or less the same stuff. Once the point of control is the same to me. Good. So I'm using the Globex because I need to take into consideration the overnights if I'm trading overnight. To see what the future is looking like on Japan, especially Japan. Japan may trigger some stuff. The Nikkei showing at or about balance. Nikkei has dropped a lot. Nikkei is in bear market. We close off our anthems today. I didn't want to be too short anymore in the market. Use that cash to sponsor the buy share side of it on our equity. The labs we closed out, the labs for a small loss, 12% or something like that, loss 10% or 12%, something like that, loss on the labs. We'll look at how it is and how we're looking to achieve that. Again, 24.15 might be achievable on the overnight, so trade what you see, guys. Trade small, trade smart. Have a good one. Hope you guys see you tomorrow. I'll probably be streaming from like 9:25 or something here. Alright, bye.